All right, you got me? You got me. It is 1 o'clock in the morning here on the Eastern Seaboard. We've got guests staying with us this weekend, so the room I usually record in is right next door to theirs. I didn't want to wake them up, so I grabbed myself a little Coke Zero from the fridge. Oh, side note, if you guys saw my Roush Museum video, here's the Matt Kenseth car coaster that I picked up. It's here. I'm getting use out of it. Anyway, need a little bit of caffeine to talk about the Craftsman Truck Series Championship finale, or as I now like to call it, the most embarrassing championship race in NASCAR history. Now, obviously, I haven't seen every finale in NASCAR history. It's been around 75 years, goodness. But I'm still confident in saying this was the most embarrassing championship race. Certainly since the Championship 4 became a thing. There have been embarrassing moments in other championship races, but tonight's event takes the cake. This thing was silly. This thing was bonkers. It was embarrassing. Honestly, in hindsight, thank goodness FS1 scheduled this thing for 10 p.m. Eastern time, so as few people would see it as possible. Where do I even begin? Look, I talked about this yesterday. When I was previewing the Truck Series Championship 4, I said it. It was youth versus experience. Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, they're what, 20, 21 years old, first Championship 4 appearance. Tons of raw speed this year, but lacking the experience of a Grant Enfinger, 38 years old, or even Ben Rhodes, third straight Championship 4. He's won the title. I sided with experience. Now, granted, I still got my championship pick wrong. I went with Grant Enfinger. He came up one spot short tonight. Ugh. But I was correct in predicting that the veterans would ultimately win out. Experience paid off tonight. Let's just skip ahead to Heim versus Hocevar, because that's when this evening truly began to go off the rails. Corey Heim was the fastest truck tonight, no doubt about it. But he got shuffled back to around 15th when he pit for 4 fresh tires. A bunch of other trucks stayed out because they had pit just on the previous caution. Suddenly Heim was deeper in traffic, had to work his way forward, and work his way forward he did. Eventually he caught up to Carson Hocevar, one of the drivers who'd stayed out, was on older tires. They raced pretty hard for a couple laps. Hocevar even shut the door at least once, but Heim was able to make the pass cleanly. And at that point, Corey Heim was now in the lead for the championship. It looked like his title to lose. That is until Carson Hocevar happened. The very next lap, Hocevar sent a little message to Heim, gave him a little bump, said, hey, I'm not going down quietly. I may be on old tires, an inferior truck, but I'm going for it. I'm still here. Watch yourself. He moved Heim up the racetrack a little bit, but the next lap he felt he needed to go bigger, bolder. The next lap, Carson Hocevar drove it in the lowest possible lane, slid up into the middle, and spun Corey Heim around. Goodness gracious, racing for the championship, and you wreck the guy. Now, Hocevar was very remorseful over the radio, almost immediately, but like, doesn't matter. He probably didn't mean to wreck the guy, but we saw the lap before. He absolutely meant to make contact. He wasn't afraid to put the bumper to the back of the 11. If you're willing to bump somebody, whatever happens next, that's on you. 100% on Carson Hocevar. To his credit, I suppose, I mean, he didn't shy away from it. He was very upset with himself over the radio, seemed to affect him in the closing laps of this race, and even afterwards, speaking to reporters, Hocevar 100% took the blame for the incident. He was very disappointed with himself. I'll give him that. Doesn't excuse the on-track incident. You're racing for a championship, you have to be better than that. Anyway, Corey Heim wasn't done, back in traffic now, but he was able to put on a fresh set of tires, move towards the front. Hocevar fell back. Eventually they found each other again with 3 laps to go, and Corey Heim got his revenge. Walled Hocevar up into the outside wall, ended the 42 truck's night. Revenge. Kind of an empty revenge. It didn't help Corey Heim get any closer to winning the championship, and he damaged his own truck in the process, but revenge nonetheless. Gosh, goodness me. These are 2 of the fastest drivers in trucks and teams all season long, wrecking each other, eye for an eye, tit for tat, back and forth in the closing laps of the championship race. And Heim, after the race, deflecting questions. He wouldn't admit that he walled Hocevar on purpose, even though we all know he did. I guess I can't blame him. He's playing the game. You know, Denny Hamlin at Phoenix earlier this year admitted to walling Chastain on purpose. He got a fine and a points penalty for that. So, you know, yeah, maybe Corey Heim being dishonest with this, but that's what you have to do. NASCAR set that precedent. I guess I can't hold that over him, but still. Ugly, ugly stuff on the racetrack. Your two top championship contenders taking turns spinning each other out, whether on purpose or not. A real bad look in tonight's championship race. Between those moves and many other wrecks we saw late in the race tonight, just a reminder that many of these drivers are just kids. This also serves as a reminder to all of us that it takes much more than just raw driving talent to be successful in NASCAR. It takes a level of mental toughness. Just like any professional sport, half the game is mental. Too many of these truck series drivers are college-aged kids who just lack the emotional, mental maturity it takes to be successful in professional sports at the top level of what you do. I like Carson Hocevar. I like Corey Heim a lot. Carson Hocevar has so much raw, unrefined talent. If he ever figures it out, and I think he will, he's going to be dangerous. But tonight was just a reminder that he has a long way to go. He will be in for a rude awakening in the NASCAR Cup Series next year if he doesn't clean this up fast. Just last week at Martinsville, he was like 2 laps down spinning Ty Gibbs out because he held a grudge. You can't do that on Sundays. They will teach you a lesson, and it will hurt. Corey Heim, I'm a big Corey Heim fan. I think there's something there. Tonight didn't go well for him, but the dude had, what, 15 straight top 10s this year in his first full-time truck season? Like, he can drive. There's talent there. Again, these are young kids who tonight showed us all, showed the world, that they lack the emotional maturity. You can learn that, you can find it. It comes with age, comes with experience. But tonight made it clear they still have a lot of growing up to do. And the same can be said about a lot of drivers in the Craftsman Truck Series. We're not really talking about it tonight. Even the Xfinity Series, ARCA, even the Cup Series in some case. And Carson Hocevar, I just said, will be in Cup next year. Ty Gibbs, who's had his issues in the past, races in Cup. Tonight's race was embarrassing, but I think for a lot of Cup Series drivers, it was the loudest wake-up call you could possibly get, because that was one of the more entertaining, it was probably the only entertaining part of this race, was reading Cup Series drivers' tweets or posts in real time. I pulled up a couple of them right here. Like when Hocevar first spun out Corey Heim, Tyler Reddick tweeted, "This dumbass will never learn." Oh, ouch. And then when Heim retaliated against Hocevar, Chris Buescher tweeted, "What a pitiful lack of sportsmanship." Very eloquently put there. Denny Hamlin always has to have the last word, it seems, posted, "This is what happens when there's no rules, no officiating. You get a product like this. The show has taken over US motorsports and why it's hard to take seriously." Anytime we talk about NASCAR or race control stepping in and officiating aggressive driving, on-track incidents, that's just a slippery slope in my opinion. Do we really want the same race control who can't decide when this is or isn't a caution in charge of more gray area calls? But, you know, when other races have gone awry, we've seen other wreck fests, ugly, embarrassing shows, we've asked the question, is there a breaking point? What is the breaking point? Was tonight the breaking point? You put this kind of show on to decide your champion? Did this race finally cross that line? Should NASCAR consider stepping in, officiating more strictly? It's just a hypothetical question. Where is that limit? Where is that breaking point? If we didn't cross that line tonight, honestly, I'm not sure we ever will. One thing that I think should be changed right off the bat, probably won't, but we need more practice, especially in trucks and Xfinity. I don't know how team owners feel about that. I know they like saving money on tire bills, less miles on the engine, but at this point, these young drivers need track time. They need to be on the racetrack, behind the wheel of real race cars. There should be at least 1 hour, maybe 2 hours of practice at every single race next season. Another thing we could consider, and this one is even less likely, but I talked about this, I think earlier today actually in a video, or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this, but maybe instead of a one race winner take all championship, what if it's a final round? a 3-race round to match the rest of the playoffs. I don't know how practical that is. I know Dale Jr. was one of the first to really suggest it or promote that idea earlier this season. Like I've said, I overall like the current playoff format, but I've never been a huge fan of the winner-take-all single race. That always sticks with me. More times than not, the champion, at least on the Cup side, has been very deserving, but especially in Xfinity and trucks, when you get more crazy races like this, it's more unpredictable. I'd rather see a 3-race championship round. You might not have Carson Hocevar driving through Corey Heim with 30 laps to go. You might not have Heim retaliating right then and there in the moment. Might clean up some of this mess. Just some food for thought, some potential suggestions. I always try to be, I can't talk tonight. I always try to be, what word am I thinking? Constructive. Gosh, it's late, y'all. I always try to be constructive when I come here and talk to you guys. I don't like to just, whine or complain about something and not at least try to offer a potential solution. So that's all I'm doing right here, even though they may not be very realistic solutions in this case. Tonight was an embarrassment, no doubt. I'm confident the Xfinity and certainly the Cup race on Sunday will be cleaner, will be more professional. I guess before I go tonight, I should go ahead and say congratulations to Ben Rhodes. I barely mentioned him tonight. I mean, he kind of won tonight's championship sort of just, by default. And the 2 fastest trucks took themselves out. Man, Grant Enfinger, dude, had a great shot at it. Threw a Hail Mary there at the end, came up just short. He was my pick. So close. Ben Rhodes, I mean, of the 4 championship drivers, probably had the weakest all-around season, but he was still good. And now he's a 2-time truck champion. I mean, say what you will. Again, experience, keeping your cool, keeping your calm. You've been there before. Sometimes that pays off. Heim, Hocevar, it looked like they'd never been there before. They looked young. Not Grant Enfinger and certainly not Ben Rhodes. Say what you will about Ben Rhodes, but he's grown up quite a bit in the past 4, 5, 6 years. He's been in trucks for a long, long time. I think longer than a lot of folks realize. So he's seen a thing or two. He's done a thing or two. And now he's won 2 of these championships, so congratulations to him. I'm gonna head back inside, I guess. I gotta edit this video now and then, hopefully get some sleep before tomorrow's Xfinity race. Still a busy weekend ahead, lots of stuff going on, but I couldn't go to sleep comfortably until I came out here and made a video and just vented for 10-15 minutes with you guys. I appreciate. Oh, there's someone's calling me. Oh, why are people still awake? I came out here specifically so y'all could go sleep. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Just an off-the-cuff, rambly video in my car, in the driveway. Good stuff, high quality. This is why y'all subscribe. I will catch y'all again very, very soon. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of championship weekend. It certainly can't get worse than what we saw out there tonight. Take care, y'all. See y'all later.